sensei.
Sorry.
And now on Channel 4, my viewing pleasure. Titanic.
Hasn't even started. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm coming. Yes, just give me a second.
Hello.
Hi.
I think I'd better come in.
Why?
I just ought to. It's important, really. May I? Oh, what a nice place you've got. Great view, isn't it?
If you like concrete, I suppose. Take a seat.
Thank you. Well, I'd better introduce myself. I'm Archie.
Dennis?
Good. Do you live alone?
Yeah, it's a one-bedroom flat. It's too small.
Yes, quite. But cosy, you know. One gets tired of having too much space sometimes. Take my word for it.
You live in a big house?
No, not really big, just a few spare bedrooms, couple of acres. Doesn't really feel like home when you can get lost in it, you know.
Not really. So, why are you here?
I suppose I'd better get to the point, hadn't I? You see, the thing is, you're going to die. Fairly soon, actually. Sorry about that, it's just the way it is.
Wait. What are you talking about?
Flapjacks.
What?
Flapjacks, you like them, don't you?
Yeah, what, you selling them or something?
A door-to-door flapjack salesman. What a curious idea. No. You're the right person. I'll start at the beginning.
Okay.
4 years ago, I resolved to murder my wife. My weapon of choice was poison. I've always thought of it as a rather sophisticated way to kill somebody.
There is such a thing.
Yes, quite. Well, I needed something to poison her with, so I began making her flapjacks that she could take to work with her each day, and I could sit at home safe in the knowledge that I was slowly killing her.
Right.
Well, this was 4 years ago, you see. I used very small amounts of poison that would build up over time and eventually lead to her death sometime around now. Except that I only found out yesterday, during an argument even worse than the ones we normally have, that she has never liked my flapjacks. That she has been giving them away every day to a work colleague. Enjoy.
No. You mean...
Yes, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to kill you, as I've explained.
Susan! You're Susan's husband?
Yes.
The flapjack she's been giving me, but you've been...
Poisoning? Yes, quite. Unfortunate, really. Well, I just thought you should know so you can arrange stuff. I'd better be off. I'm meeting my wife for lunch.
You're leaving?
Yes, I have...
You've just told me I'm going to die!
Well, I didn't have to tell you. It was an accident, okay? Now, don't waste time yelling at me. You don't have that much time left, you know.
I know, but I wish I didn't. I mean, I wish you hadn't told me. I could have just lived the rest of my days in blissful ignorance.
There's gratitude for you. It's not easy telling someone they're going to die.
Yeah, well, it's not easy hearing it.
Yes. Well, goodbye. Hello. Look, I can't help feeling a bit guilty about the whole thing. So I wondered if there was anything I could do for you.
Anything you could do? Anything you could... Wait, an antidote? What about an antidote?
There isn't one, I'm afraid. Look, I'd get it if there was, but when you've been systematically poisoned for 4 years, it takes more than a drop of antidote to save you. Well, if that's all, I suppose...
Tea?
Sorry?
Tea. Shall we have some?
I don't really Very well, I suppose I owe you that at least.
Tea, good.
Thank you.
It's brewing.
Ah. Well.
How long?
Well, I don't have to be at the restaurant until 2, so I can...
No! How long before the end?
Oh, I see, sorry. It's hard to say. Some months, a year maybe. It's a very unusual poison. Quite fascinating, actually. You probably don't want to know all that, do you?
No.
No. So, Dennis, how's work in pharmaceuticals?
Same as always, I guess. I mean, wait a minute. That's where you got the poison from, isn't it? Through Susan's work.
Well, yes, she does leave a lot of very interesting books lying around the house, and one day I just took her keys and acquired what I needed.
Cerulin.
Sarah who?
Cerulin. You know, the bluish powder, it's tasteless. You can give it over a long period of time or in a single large dose. It's what you used, isn't it?
Well, yes, but how did you know that? You're only a cleaner, aren't you?
Yeah, but you know, you learn things just from being there so much of the time, I guess.
I see.
But why flapjacks? Why not just poison her tea and then watch her drink it each day?
I'm good at making flapjacks, I suppose, but yes, tea could have worked now you mention it. You should get into it, this murder business. You'd be good at it. To be honest, I've been a bit of an amateur. It's taken me 4 years and I've killed the wrong person. Not exactly the crime of the century, is it?
No.
Speaking of tea, shall I pour it?
I'll do it. I know where everything is.
Yeah, sure. Well, he seems to have taken it okay. Pharmaceutical properties of proactive substances.
Is it? Oh,
Dennis, you've got a book here with an entry about cerulin in it.
Does it? I mean, I just borrow books from work sometimes because I find them interesting. It's this, milk. Yeah, I'll get the milk.
Milk. You don't... Just a dash, please. Just a dash. Oh, it's good tea, Dennis. Well, this is nice, isn't it? So what are you going to do now that you know?
Well, what can I do? What, pretend to go and live on normally like I didn't know?
So you'd really rather I hadn't told you? Oh, this is a cock-up. I thought you could arrange things, you know, give generously to the poor, make peace with your enemies.
I am the poor! I don't have any enemies. No. Why should I, do you?
My wife, for a start.
Yeah, well, I never married, you know. Thought maybe one day, but...
Oh, don't worry about it. Getting married is not all it's cracked up to be. In fact, getting married was the single biggest mistake I ever made. Well, until now, that is.
That's cynical. Look, I have seen enough films to know it can be wonderful if you find the right person. Bet you rushed into it. Seems to be a common mistake.
I knew Susan for 5 years before we avowed our love. Look, anyway, you won't like it. Getting married is like riding a bike. The learning's the fun part, and then it becomes another routine way to get from A to B. Look, I'm not too hot with the metaphors. The point is, there are far more worthwhile things to do than getting yourself tied to a woman.
More worthwhile things? More worthwhile things? Archie, you have a beautiful and loving wife. A large house. More than enough money, I'm sure. You know, that's everything that I long for, and yet, you know, you just come across as, well, a bit of a dick. And then there's me, a dying cleaner living in this dump, who has just been told he's going to die, and I can still be a little bit positive about life. Don't you know something good when you see it?
Yes, but it's the people that have had it all that are the real cynics, Dennis, because they know that all doesn't actually amount to anything. But the ones who feel they've missed out, been hard done by, it is they that are the true romanticists. They know there's this perfect world out there. They've just never been able to reach it. Stop reaching, Dennis. Be content with nothing. It's all
See, in more normal circumstances, I wouldn't agree with you, Archie, but, well, I guess that's true for me now, isn't it? Any chance of a future, chance to change, vanished the minute you came to my door.
Yes, well, you see, the reason why I came here, and it took a fair bit of courage to do so, I might add, is that people always say there's so much they want to do before they die, in, books and films and stuff, so, well, I thought I'd better tell you.
Thanks, suppose.
There really is nothing I could do for you. I could give you a bit of money.
Putting a price on my life now?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm joking, I don't think it'd be worth much anyway.
I must be off fairly soon.
Wait, hang on. Didn't you say you were meeting your wife for lunch?
Yes.
You tried to kill her.
Don't get me wrong, I can't stand the cow. But it's Saturday, and we always go for lunch on Saturday. You have to keep things going, stick to the routine.
Okay, wait, Archie, before you go, could you tell me why? To be honest, I'm not actually that scared about dying, but well, if I'm going to die, I'd at least like to know the reason why.
You really feel that will help?
Yeah.
Oh, very well. It's not an easy story to tell, Dennis. Take a seat, I'll be a while. It all began about 5 years ago when something truly remarkable happened. I fell in love for the first time. And not with my wife. We'd been married about 11 years or so, I think, and I discovered that I'd never really loved her. Strange, as if I was told that the sound of an engine was the height of musical expression, and then discovered Mozart or Kanye, which is fitting, as I met the girl that I fell for. Catherine, in a small music store. It was wonderful. I've never felt so alive and energized, so much myself. It would have been bliss, but for the small fact I was already married. I've been seeing Catherine for just under a year, and, well, I was in love. But leaving Susan seemed so unthinkable to me. Change is hard. So hard, I fear we often feel it better to bear misery than risk all for a glimmer of happiness. Catherine often asked me to run away with her in her letters. We spoke on the phone sometimes too, but me being a bit of a technophobe, my phone contract was in her name, and well, she would have got suspicious if a new number kept coming up on the bills. Anyway, I did promise Catherine I would go away with her. I wanted to. I needed the courage, and I kept thinking it would come, but like a fool I waited, without really knowing what for, and that proved to be my downfall. Have you ever been in love, Dennis?
Me? Maybe.
You'll know, I think. It changes you, or rather it changes the way you see yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anyway, as I said, Catherine and I spoke on the phone sometimes, and one day I came home to speak to her, but I found that her number had gone from my phone. In fact, all the numbers had gone from my phone. A technical fault. Susan said the phone company confirmed it, but I know now that was a lie. But anyway, I still had Catherine's address, so I wrote to her telling her what had happened, and she wrote back, but her letters had become different. She seemed to deny my every suggestion that we meet. She mentioned some problems she was having and that we'd meet again soon, and then after 2 months of waiting, she told me it was over. I hadn't even seen her face to face. It was so unlike her. So I went to her house. She wasn't there. She'd left a month or two before, they said, and they had no forwarding address. I'd lost her.
Well, I mean, Archie, that must have been awful. I don't understand. Why blame Susan?
You don't see it, Dennis, do you? No, I didn't see it at first either. It wasn't until I got home I knew for sure. I gathered all the notes I had from Catherine, examined them, compared them, and sure enough, there was the proof. They weren't all written by the same person.
Still don't get it.
Dennis! She found out. I don't know whether she just got suspicious or opened a letter for me by mistake, but there it was in black and white. The woman I was in love with telling me she was leaving, and now was the time to make my choice, her or Susan. That must be the day my phone develops a fault. Susan wipes the phone, cancels the number, and hides the letter, but not before studying the writing and learning to copy it. So for over a month, Catherine continues to write to me, telling me we'll meet again soon. Susan must have written a reply to Catherine saying that I still love her and wouldn't leave. And Catherine leaves alone. Susan feigned ignorance of the whole thing, of course, but she knew. We both knew, and we looked into each other's eyes, but neither of us said anything. It was easiest just to settle back into the routine, the pattern. I waited for a while. I thought maybe she would come back. Maybe she would try one more time. She didn't. After just 1 year together, I never saw or spoke to Catherine again. The only woman I ever loved. A year later, I realized that killing Susan had to be my revenge.
Surely there had to be another way.
Not that I could see, Dennis. You can't imagine the pain of having someone you love torn from you. It destroys you.
But don't you see you're lucky? You had love. Yeah, you lost it, but you had it. And so many people go through life never having that.
Maybe they're the lucky ones, Dennis.
Well, why take so long to kill her?
Well, partly I felt that administering it in such a fashion reduced my chances of being caught, but there was also the simple fact that taking my time over it made it all the more sweet. For 4 years I could watch her, live with her, take her gloatings and her put-downs and all with good humour, knowing that I was killing her. Has that given you what you wanted?
I don't know, maybe I'd hoped for something a little bit more, meaningful than revenge.
More meaningful? Revenge is a glorious way to die, Dennis. How many poems, plays, novels, films have been written about revenge? You're part of an artistic tradition now, Dennis, and art lives forever. Well, metaphorically, that is.
I'm sorry, we can't just go around killing anyone that upsets us. I mean, that's mental. What gives you the right?
Anyone that upsets us. She did more than upset me, Dennis. She destroyed the only happiness of my adult life, the only real love I ever felt. How could you forgive someone for that? Even on a deathbed, how could you forgive someone for that?
But it's Susan. I've known Susan for 5 years and I know that she's a wonderful person. You didn't even have proof, Archie. What? A few scraps of handwriting, a faulty phone, a look in her eyes? Do you know what I think? I think she left you. Catherine left you, and your pride couldn't deal with that, so your warped mind came up with a story that made Susan the villain. That's it, isn't it? That's what all of this is about, and that's why I'm going to die, because someone didn't love you, and you couldn't handle that.
That's pathetic, Dennis! You don't know about Catherine and me. She loved me, one can sense these things, though I wouldn't expect you to know that. And Susan? You think you know Susan? You know nothing but a fraction of what that woman can be, what she really is. For goodness sake, don't tell me I don't know my own wife.
Well, if it that much to you, why didn't you just leave her? Or kill her quickly? Anything! Anything that would have meant this never happened. You didn't have the guts, did you?
Don't be so... You have no idea.
You didn't have the guts.
Yes. Okay, Dennis. I was a coward for not leaving Susan. Oh, well, I'm just not made for this murder business, am I? It's a lot easier to think of killing someone over a long period of time. You feel you could get used to it before it happened. You've got time to adjust. I was a coward, Dennis, and part of me thought I needed a way out.
And it's all come to this. This is crazy. You could actually make me feel guilty for being poisoned.
Well, why did you have to set those damn flapjacks, Dennis?
For the same reason I don't get why you wanted to kill her. You know Susan and I get on well at work, and we always have. I used to try to get on the same shifts as her so that we could chat and stuff. It took me a while to realise it was more than a friend I was after, Archie. I love Susan. And I have
You're telling me you love my wife. You realise you're giving me a reason to kill you, or at least you would if I hadn't already. You love my wife? But she's such a bitch!
No, she's not, Archie. You just think that because of your deluded story.
Dennis, I'm telling you, I
No,
don't...
look. Just think back to when you first met her. You know, didn't you see her differently? Wasn't she a kind and loving person?
Well, perhaps, but as I said, I've never loved her, Dennis. The time I spent believing I was poisoning her, it simply strengthened my resolve and my hatred. I'd begun to enjoy it, I really had. That's why I brought up the flapjacks in the argument yesterday. I loved the way her imminent death was right there in front of her and she didn't even know it. Of course, the revelation she had for me soon put an end to my smugness. She must think my flapjack making skills mean the bloody world to me. The look on my face when she told me she gave them all away to you. She gave them all to you. You haven't been with her.
What? No, Archie, I have not slept with you. I've done nothing with your wife, okay? There was a spark between us and the suggestion of something more, but, you know, when things started getting interesting, she started talking about you. No, Archie, I'd accepted that she was taken. You know, that I stood no chance against this strong and romantic man she called her husband. That's how she describes you, you know. She loves you, Archie. She always has.
It's not love, Dennis, and I don't think that it ever has been. She just did not want to risk losing control. If she'd had an affair as well, we'd have been on equal footing. As it was, she had the advantage, and she meant to keep it. But yes, Dennis, I see it now. The way she's spoken about you, or maybe more importantly, the way she hasn't, it all makes sense.
Wait. What she said?
Well, she compares us sometimes, you know. If there's something I've done wrong, there's a way Dennis from work would do it better.
Like what?
Well, the vacuuming mostly. Don't get me wrong, it may just be dusting or wiping or cleaning duties, but, well, it was the way she said it, Dennis. There was a real spite for me, but a real sense of adoration for you, which it used to confuse me, and then she wouldn't then bring you up again for a month or so. Evidently, she did not want me to find out.
Find out what?
That there was something between you, Dennis. That she liked you, or even that she
No,
loved...
no, do not even say that, Archie. You know, this is ridiculous. You just turn up uninvited to my flat, tell me I'm going to die, and now you're trying to set me up with your wife. This is just the strangest day of my life, and come on, I think it's time that you leave.
Dennis, don't be so blind. I'm just telling you the truth as I see it. Look, I feel nothing for her anymore but hate. Oh, but yes, Dennis, I know it now. She felt something for you. I'm sure of it.
Well, it means little to me now, Archie, doesn't it? And come on, it's time that you
Dennis,
leave.
No, I'm not. Get off me, Dennis.
I swear to Christ. You better get out of my house now, or I'm going to call the police.
I'm not leaving, Dennis, until we finish this.
You just get out of my house now!
No, Dennis, I'm not leaving.
I'll call the police!
Do it! I'm not leaving. You wouldn't dare.
Hello?
Yes, police, please.
What's their names?
There's a man in my house. I think he's trying to kill me. Is it possible you can get his...
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear. Sorry, Dennis. I just can't kill him. Dennis? Dennis? You're awake? There's nothing for it.
Did you just try and kill me again?
No. I don't know where this came from. I have no idea.
Archie, get my inhaler.
What?
Inhaler, it's on the table.
Yes. Just breathe. Let's just everybody calm down. I say breathe. That's fine. That's good.
I just wish I'd done something more, you know. Before this happened, I always knew it would come to this. Inside, I always knew.
You knew about the flapjacks? What?
About time, no! That mounted to nothing.
Well, that's not true, Dennis. Susan tells me you're a wonderful asset to the department.
As a cleaner.
Well, yes.
Cleaning. My life's achievement, you know, scrubbing limescale from underneath the sink in Lab H.
Look, Dennis, I don't know how much this will mean to you, but, well, you say you love her, and...
Yes.
Well, I meant what I said, Dennis. She may never have acted on it, but I think you brought something into Susan's life that she needed. You gave her a spark, a twinkle in the eye, an aura of positivity. When she spoke of you, she was happy, and she was speaking of the goodness in life. I could see it.
What was she seeing me? I'm worthless, you see. Useless. I've done nothing with my life, you know. I've got no career, no money, no house, no flat. Don't even own this dump. And she's got you. Strong and romantic, she says. I'm nothing, Archie. I wait for her to kill a few hours of downtime at work.
She sees far more in you than you guess, my friend. I think she's sick of this life you put so much store into, Dennis. I think she's disillusioned with money, status, the whole charade. She's seen through it, Dennis, and she's seen through me. We both lost our faith in life, our belief. For that 1 year I had it, but... And Susan, I think she sees what she's lost. Will you? You said it yourself. I'm a hardened cynic. You have hope, my friend.
Nice try.
Oh, for goodness sake, Dennis, you must have realised somewhere along the way, some part of you.
Why are you telling me this now?
I don't really know. I suppose I thought it's time you knew things, you know, the truth, the facts, before...
Thank you, Archie.
Thank you. Don't forget, I have murdered you, Dennis.
Not quite, you know. I think you murdered someone that was already dead, but you showed me a part of me that I didn't even know existed.
Well, it's been a pleasure of sorts, really, Dennis, but, well, I suppose I must really be getting off. I'm a bit late already as it is, so
No.
thank you.
Archie, here you go. I've got something to tell you.
Well, this sounds important.
Yeah.
I'm going to die, Archie.
Yes, I know, Dennis. I told you.
I'm going to die now. Within the next hour or so, I guess. I just want you to, you know, tell the police, arrange the collection of my body, stuff like that.
Turn myself in.
It's suicide, Archie. You're off the hook. I've been suicidal in the past, and I'd stolen poison from. Well, that's how I knew about the Serolin, and well, poisoned my tea. I mean,
Dennis.
If I'm going to die, I may as well get it out of the way.
Yes,
What's the
yes.
point in waiting?
I've made another rather enormous gaffe, I'm afraid. You see, I swapped the cups.
What? Why would you do that?
Well, I saw what you said earlier about poisoning tea in the book about Serolin. Well, I got suspicious.
No. That was all the poison I had.
Well, this is interesting. It's quite like Hamlet, actually.
I haven't actually seen that one.
Sorry, Dennis.
Well, it doesn't matter now, does it? I mean, we're both in the same boat.
I poisoned you and now myself. I think things through a bit more carefully in future, if I was going to have one.
Archie, Archie, are
I
you
can
all right?
feel tightening inside, Dennis.
It was quite a large dose. At least it's going to be quick. Sit on the chair. Breathe in.
Dennis, get me some paper and a pen, quickly.
Paper?
Yes, Dennis, please, quickly. Good, and the empty tub of Ceridine as well, Dennis, bring it here. So. Oh, good, yes. They'll probably check for fingerprints, you know.
Who will?
The police, Dennis. The point is, you can't have someone die in your flat and not have the police involved, well, unless you're a murderer, and well, I'm the murderer here, not you, so we need to deal with this.
Yes, okay.
As you said, it's suicide, and I'm going to write the note that proves it. I need you to block it out for me, Dennis. I need to visualize it.
What?
Like, act it out, like
Like a film?
Like a film, yes, Dennis, good. Tell the police I showed up asking about Susan, that I was confused, melancholy, that I was... Oh, what's that word, Dennis?
Agitated.
Agitated, yes, Dennis, good. Tell them I was unpredictable, you know, mood swings, that I was down for a while, and then we had some tea, and then I attacked you. But afterward we calmed down. You went to get me some sugar for the tea, and you don't know what I've got with me, what I'm planning.
The Ceridine!
Yes, good, Dennis, good. And all the while, there's something eerie about me. There's a flicker of intent deep inside me, and you don't like it. So I ask you for paper and a pen, and then while you go to the toilet, I begin to write something. I write.
Do we have to do this? I mean, we're both dying now anyway. Why does it matter what happens to me? I'll be dead soon too.
Not for a while, Dennis. You might have a year or so left, remember? Now, how about this? Susan. No, wait. I'm angry with her. What would be the word you would use, Dennis?
Bitch.
Perfect, Dennis. No, let me start that again. That's not...
You're writing to her.
Well, of course. The point is, I love her, Dennis. Well, no, it says I hate her. Well, it's that I love her as much as you love her, and hate her as much as I hate her, if you see what I mean. You see, Dennis, that's why I've killed myself. I've given everything to her, the love of my life, and she's thrown it in my face by falling for you, and I can't take it anymore. So I hate her because I love her.
So your note is telling her that you killed yourself because you found out she loved me.
Exactly, Dennis. Now you're getting it. And that's why I came here, to see you, to confront you, or maybe to kill you. I had the poison, but I couldn't do it. I was at a loss, so I poisoned my own tea and killed myself.
Right, that's okay.
You seem unsure.
No, it makes sense. It's just, well, today's been weird enough as it is about having a different version of it to deal with.
No, you'll be fine, I'm sure. Now, how about this? Susan, do not weep for me. In fact, I know you won't, as I have discovered where your affections lie. Oh, I can bear it no more. Yours, Archie. Well...
Okay.
You don't like it, do you?
I don't think it matters, Archie. It's your note.
Oh, very well. Now, Dennis, when you give this letter to her...
When I give it to her?
Yes, Dennis, I want you to take this letter to Susan.
But the police will do that.
No, Dennis, you will. You must. Some good should come out of this immense mess I've created.
Oh, Ian again.
She'll need someone to help her through this dark time, Dennis. She'll need to be comforted.
You want me to, I can't do that, Archie. You can't just pass your wife on to me.
You love her, Dennis. She loves you. It's what you both want.
Come to the sofa. Give me a feet.
Just go to her, Dennis. Feel love, be happy.
What, and her? You want her to be happy too? The woman that you tried to kill, the woman that you couldn't forgive, even on her death...
Even on her deathbed.
You haven't forgiven her.
I can't, Dennis. And you realise by now that's why I want you to go. Feel love, Dennis. Feel love like I felt for Catherine. Feel love
Before I die, leave Susan alone and you finally get revenge through me.
And a more poetic vengeance it seems. The poison kind of worked after all.
Archie.
And I think if you go to her, Dennis, I think you... Yes, nice to meet you at last.
Archie.
Dennis.
Archie. No, come on now, Archie. Come on. Archie! Oh my god, what am I going to do? Is the pain of rejection really that bad that it's better to feel nothing? No. It's bad to speak of the dead, or to the dead in this case, I suppose. But I'm sorry, I don't believe you. There is a perfect world out there, Archie. Even for a dying cleaner like me, you know, I'm going to prove it. With this letter, we're going to prove it. Hi, Susan. It's Dennis from work. You know Dennis? With the flapjacks? Yeah. I've got something to tell you.